Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. All right, what's going on, guys? This is Rob. We are picking back up again with the Joker War. And this is, oh my God, Harley Quinn's amazing in this story. Okay, so we initially pick up here with Joker making a move. What he ends up getting is like one of these great big huge stretch limousines. Looks like a Hummer stretch limousine, and kind of makes this thing where it's designed to be ludicrous looking, right? It's just spray painted with smiley faces and ha-has and all that kind of stuff. But he ends up making his way towards Ace Chemical. And as he's doing this, it looks as though he's basically talking to the driver. And he asks the driver, he says, "What's your name?" And the guy says, "My name's Abe." And he's like, "Are you a lifer, Abe?" Meaning, has he always grown up in Gotham City, or is he a transplant? And Abe's response is, "Well, I've lived here my entire life." And that's when Joker kind of asks the question, like, isn't it nice to see like the city basically waking up, right? To see that the city's been pretending to be something that it's not, and that it's finally come to grips with what it really is. This is interesting. Here's the thing, I don't want to get super political on this, but this is cool, right? And I'm not going to make, comparisons to the real world outside of saying there's some truth to what the Joker says here, in the sense that for us as people, there is a kind of desire to just let that darker side be free. Like, we keep ourselves contained, we keep ourselves organized, we keep ourselves structured, right? We abide by this kind of social contract. In any organized society, you have laws that say like it's illegal to steal. And we don't really follow those laws because we believe that they're genuinely the right thing to do, right? I mean, I would challenge anybody out there, like a parent or somebody like that if their kid's starving, you do what you need to do, right? Like, you steal from who you need to steal in order to make sure your kid eats. Like, that's something that I firmly believe. But as people, there's a kind of rule that we follow, not necessarily because of the fact that we believe it's for the greater good, but because if that rule exists, then it means there's recourse if it happens to us, right? So we have laws that say it's illegal to steal, not because we genuinely believe stealing's wrong, but because if somebody steals from us, then it means that we have recourse for it. And depending on where you live, your geographic location, that recourse can change from one place to the next, right? Somebody breaks into your house. If you live in like Colorado or Texas or someplace like that, you have stand your ground laws. So you can tell them to leave. If they don't, you can shoot them on sight. I mean, that just that kind of thing. Other states, you can't really do that so much. But the idea is that there is a kind of natural nature to lawlessness that exists between people, because what the Joker's giving us here, and while it's not necessarily all of Gotham itself, one thing to understand is that these people who are running around as clowns and wearing masks, they're not some kind of individuals who are possessed by some kind of evil out there. They're just people. And what they've been told is, the city is yours. You can do whatever you want with it. And when given that choice to do whatever it is that they want, they start tearing it up. They start ripping it to pieces, right? And this kind of follows the Thomas Hobbes approach of philosophy, right? That in a state of nature where there is no ordered government whatsoever, people will devolve into a perpetual and permanent war of all against all over resources. That's kind of what this is, right? To a degree. And so it's one of these things where the Joker kind of looks and says, like, Batman never really saw Gotham for what it was, right? Batman believed that he could change that he believed that he could take the city from a place where you could be walking down the street and get mugged by a cop or a criminal, and the only difference between the two was the uniforms they wore, and try to turn it into a place where everybody was safe. But what Batman always failed to realize is the reason why Gotham is the worst place in all of the world, and in the world for the most part, is because it's just how people naturally are here. It's such an interesting philosophy to have, because there's truth to that. People don't move to bad places so they can be good guys, right? People go to bad places so they can be bad guys, right? They can do bad things, do things they're not supposed to do. That's the idea behind why those things exist in the first place. And so it's interesting because the Joker looks at this and says Batman believes that Gotham City is his city. He believes that like it's the city that he's there to protect, but all he's doing is protecting it from me and people like me. So if Batman is there to protect the city from people like me, then is it Batman's city or is it my city? And that's the reality, is it's Joker's city. That's really what it is, right? It's really kind of awesome because you get to this point where he ends up, of course, getting a call from Punchline, and Punchline, basically, where the question is like, what's that noise? He's like, oh, I don't know, he's just killing the driver, basically. And so with that happening, she basically tells the Joker that, her encounter with Harley Quinn didn't work. Harley Quinn's not dead. Batman's back. And the concern is that Batman's going to start going on a warpath, but Joker's not really worried about it. And while he's going through there and basically executing every single one of his guys inside Ace Chemical to kind of clear the way and remove all this, this resistance for Batman, he really kind of says like, I'm not worried about him, right? Like, I know Batman better than he probably knows himself. I can predict him. I know where he's going to go and he's going to come here. So here's what I want, right? I want that Monarch Theater to be full to capacity. So tell the clowns, everybody out there, that he'll pay $1,000 for every dead body they bring to him. And if they bring the bat, it'll be $1 million. He's literally putting out a bounty on just average citizens out there. So cut to Batman. And what Batman's done here is basically reassembled the entirety of the Bat family, which have kind of been off doing their own thing. And Batman's really been trying to solve this problem on his own. But the reality of this is that this is too big of a problem for him to solve by himself. More so than that, Batman, he also kind of seems to realize the failing, right? The faults in his stars. And so far as he looks at what's been happening here and basically saying that he's been too cut off. Right now, this is kind of the issue, the little bit of an issue that I have with this is we've seen this before, right? Batman's like in some crazy situation and it's like, oh man, guys, I'm sorry. I never really appreciated you for how awesome you were. Well, things are going to change now, right? We saw that in the aftermath of like death of the family. We saw that during Tom King's Batman and we're seeing it here. It's okay, but to have it happen like, run after run after run, like 3 times in a row, it does kind of get a little old because you largely assume this is all still one continuity in Batman comics. So it's like, okay, like, is it just like with each instance this happened, Batman realizes he needs them like a little bit more? And then, if we've done it 3 times so far, that's like, the first time he realized he needed them 33% more than he did before. And now it's like 66% more during Tom King's Batman. Now he's at like 99%, so just a little bit more, and then he'll realize exactly how much he needs them. Like, I don't know. I don't really know. But the important thing here is he basically says that the entire city of Gotham is a complete and total chaos, that the whole place is being laid to waste, and it only gets worse from here. It's only going to get worse. That what you have is an assault by Batman, or at least by the Bat family, that's happening on multiple fronts, right? You've got Batwoman and the Gotham City Police Department that are leading an assault on Wayne Enterprises. The idea is to basically get all that money back, right? Lucius Fox has essentially been rescued here, so the idea is to kind of regain control of Wayne Enterprises. But on top of all that, they have to find a way to stop the violence and they have to find a way to stop the Joker. And that's why this is kind of a multifaceted strike, that the Bat family is expected to be strategically placed in different locations around Gotham, the most conducive to their various abilities, in order to, bring an end to all the crime that's going on out there. At the same time, Batman's going to go directly after the Joker. And that's when some of the Bat family step in. Red Hood steps in, Batgirl steps in, and even like Harley Quinn steps in, right? And Harley Quinn's just like, no, that's not going to happen. This is not going to be a thing where like you take out Joker. No, like this story has to end now because you're going to do what you've always done, which is grab the Joker, throw him in prison, and then he'll get out and do this all over again. Now that argument is going to become a little more prevalent here in a little while. The reason why it gets cut short is because one of the clowns spots the Bat family, fires a rocket, Batman throws a batarang, and of course takes the rocket out. And then you've got, spoiler, you got Orphan who show up there and they basically end up taking out, taking out this clown, but more are on the way. And so while the rest of the Bat family basically disperses and goes about their appointed tasks, the Batman presents Dick Grayson with his Nightwing costume. Now, the reason why this matters is because DC had I wouldn't say genius idea. They had the idea to basically have Dick Grayson take a shot to the head and then basically lose his memories of who he was. And then he started calling himself Rick Grayson, and that happened in the Nightwing comics. I've heard super mixed things about it, right? Like I've heard it's pretty polarizing. Either people love it or people hate it. There really is no in between. There really don't seem to be a lot of people who are like, yeah, it was okay. Like the stories were a little hit and miss, and depending on what story you're reading. I never really heard that. But this is basically DC like bringing Dick Grayson back to the person that he was, right? He already regained his memories. He already knows who he is. And it's just kind of a formality here, right? Like regaining the Nightwing costume and going back to being Nightwing again. A lot of this really seems to be because of the fact that Rick Grayson wasn't really received all that well. And I imagine DC didn't really expect to keep it all that long, right? And so of course, we also had Catwoman, who led Penguin and Riddler out of their hideout, with promises of wealth, with billions of dollars. Exactly what they intend to do, we're not 100% sure. It seems to be that they're basically going and kind of following Batwoman and the Gotham City Police Department into Wayne Enterprises for the purpose of doing what they probably won't be able to do on their own. But then of course you pick up with Batman showing up at Ace Chemicals. And as soon as he gets here, he gets a gunshot fired at his foot by Harley Quinn. And the reason why Harley's here is because she doesn't trust Batman. And there's really no reason for her to. In her mind, she says like the story has to end here. And at the end of the day, Batman's like, I cannot kill the Joker. And Harley's like, that's your problem. That's your issue here, is how many times has the Joker done this? How many times has the Joker laid siege to the city of Gotham? How many times has the Joker taken everything that you stand for and turned it upside down? How many members of your family has the Joker almost killed? How many people has the Joker successfully killed? And that's the argument that she kind of presents here. And it's a genius argument, right? Like the problem with Batman in the eyes of Harley Quinn is Gotham City is the most violent city in the world. And the Joker is the most violent criminal in the world. And so if the Joker is as violent and psychotic as he is, and every time the Batman catches Joker and puts him back into Arkham Asylum and the Joker escapes and something like this happens, how long is this gonna go on for? How long is this dance gonna be played? Something has to change. Whenever I create that argument, a lot of people kind of introduce a straw man argument and then point to like other comic book characters and say, well, why don't Spider-Man, why doesn't Spider-Man kill his villains, right? Why doesn't like Thor kill his villains, or the Incredible Hulk or somebody like that? I guess they could, but there is merit to making the argument and saying that when it comes to Batman, he's got the most violent criminals in all of comic books. The most violent criminals in all of comic books. It kind of makes sense that Batman would kill his villains, if for no other reason than to kill a Joker and at least get him off the table. And so I think there's an actual meritable argument to be made in saying Batman should kill his villains, right? That's kind of the craziness behind it all. And that's Harley Quinn's whole stance. So she basically says, here's what's going to happen. If you go in there and if the Joker kills you, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to put a bullet in his head and we're going to end it. And Batman's response is, no, you can't do that. Then Harley's response is, then kill me right now. If that's really what you believe, if you really believe that the Joker should continue on doing what he's doing, you know Joker's going to do this again. And so what you know is he's going to kill innocent people, which means you're okay with the Joker killing innocent people, right? If you weren't, you would kill him in order to keep innocent people from dying, but you keep him alive and you know what he's going to do. So either you can kill me now or you can accept that I'm going to do what needs to be done. And in this moment, I would say Harley Quinn is more of a superhero than Batman is. I know superheroes aren't people who kill criminals, but superheroes are people who protect innocent people. And if protecting an innocent person means taking out a criminal, sorry about your luck, right? You can call me an anti-hero all you want to. That's just the way that it goes, right? That's just the way that it is. Don't do criminal things. Don't lay waste to an entire city and kill thousands of people if you don't want to die, right? Like that's just kind of the way it is. I mean, after all, I'm not talking about killing people who shoplift. So the idea here is that once Batman gets into Ace Chemicals, he's immediately met by what he believes to be the Joker, right? He calls him out right off the bat, says, Joker, it's over, right? Like right now we're attacking Wayne Enterprises, we're taking down all your clowns, everybody's gone, right? Like you're gonna lose this whole thing. But where Batman expects the Joker to be the one that meets him, instead, it's not the Joker. What the Joker has done is he went to Wayne Manor, and he went to the graveyard in Wayne Manor, and he dug up Alfred, and then he infected Alfred, and reanimated Alfred as one of his like zombie type guys. And literally, Batman's initial response is, oh my God, like there's no way this is real. And that's when the Joker appears behind Batman wearing his own Batman costume, right? Like literally a bat suit. The Joker gets a bat suit and he just says, see, Bruce, I promised you're not ready for all of this. And that's true. Bruce Wayne was not ready for the full on madness of the Joker. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you all later. Peace.